We have to look at how we can save some money at this particular time.
Well, Mr. President, if I could, you know, it's great to say we're going to level fund, but there are increases that they're built in, just like utilities go up, everything goes. But just to level fund and not meet the contractual obligations of what's already in place is absurd. I mean, there's been no thought process behind the motion at hand. It was just, you know, a level-funded motion, and there was no thought process behind it. I will adamantly not support that motion.
Well, with all due respect, there was a lot of thought, a lot of poring over these numbers, a lot of thought of the taxpayers, a lot of thought of people calling me saying, I'm losing my home, I can't afford any more money. There's a lot of thought to those 18,000 people in town that are hurting right now, lost their job, losing their homes. How am I going to afford college next year?
So tell us some of it then. I'm dying to hear what your recommendations are on how we lose $1 million out of this school system.
That's for the school department to go back and see.
That's pretty easy, isn't it?
What, telling other people that they're
There was
responsible
no
doing their
thought
jobs?
process.
Right,
there was no thought process behind that motion.
There was a ton of thought
all that
process.
was drama. Is all that is, Jeff. You just threw a number out there. We're going to level fund. Yeah. There was no thought behind it. You know what? That's a foolish motion.
You know what?
We have a motion
Dennis,
on the floor.
you were in my house last night, and you were with my wife talking about it. You were with people in the town talking with me. You have no idea what you're talking about right now, and you're throwing out false accusations.
There is no thought process behind your motion. That's what I'm saying.
No, Joe. Chairman, I have a question.
I second that.
Let's vote. Motion is, what's the figure?
Oh. It's foolishness.
No, wait a minute.
Don't vote for it.
Superintendent.
I wasn't gonna.
Great.
May I just say something before we take that quick vote?
You may.
If you could please come back with the professional services.
Mr. President, the question was moved, and it was voted on.
Well, the superintendent, I didn't see.
The question was moved, Mr. President. If we're going to allow to talk, then I'm going to continue to talk as well.
All right, you know what? Fine. You want to vote?
We'll vote.
I'll talk to you afterwards.
Wait. I would like to hear what the superintendent has to say. Before we get on a path like this, let's get everybody's opinion, okay, before we just jump off this cliff.
I certainly want to hear the superintendent's opinion. I wasn't.
Gee, I hope that I could speak before you do, Dr. Lucy.
Mr. Little, could you rescind your motion to move the question, please?
I rescind my motion.
Mr. Little has rescinded his motion.
Okay, thank you. I think council should go first, so before you get up there, maybe you could, on your way up, I'll put my question out. If you could please come back with an itemized list of your professional services so that we could fully understand, because I don't think that we fully understand. I'd also like to know what you have in mind for, you know, and I don't know if you feel like that it's really any of our business, but I think it is our business because we do provide the money on this side of this.
I didn't hear the end of your...
I said, I don't know if you think it's any of our business, meaning the town council, as we start to pinpoint questioning for an itemized list of services. Because really what we do is provide, you know, we look at the bottom line and say yes or no as far as the amount given to you. But I think the council should do their due diligence and understand as much as they possibly can before they basically fork over money. So as far as teaching, in addition to the professional services item, I'd like to know about professional development as far as teachers. I don't know, I haven't been caught up to what you're offering. That was always a line item that I would always like to throw out when I served on the school committee.
It's zero.
Is it zero?
It's zero.
Oh,
the state
suddenly
cut that
that's
out 2
gone.
years ago.
It's been, with respect, it's been gone from the operating budget for a number of years.
Okay.
The limited professional development we offer comes from our restricted funds, and that has also been reduced because the state last year eliminated the state professional development fund, and that was not restored for this current year, nor is it projected to be restored, and as you know, we're projected to be further reduced.
Okay, I don't think the camera can't hear you.
I'm sorry, should I go?
If
Could you step up to the podium? Thank
You were
you.
going up there anyway. I would also like to, while we're being picky up here, understand, or at some point, I don't know if we're going to do this tonight, I'm certainly not going to recommend tonight, that I really think that we need a workshop on this. Understand the 4th and 5th grade move, because I am not in agreement, and I don't know if I have an opinion as a council member, but I always think that I have an opinion because, again, I'm one of 7 votes that passes the buck across the street and let you do your jobs the way you're supposed to do them. But moving 4th graders up at the middle school, I really need to have a better understanding, because my understanding is that this is going to happen come September, and it's part of this 2011 budget that you're asking for $1.2 million extra in, and I think that should be more conversations going forward. I will support the motion at this point, though. But go ahead, I believe that you're going to talk about our motion.
I'm just waiting till it's my turn.
Thank you.
Please don't cry and whine up there how you're not going to be able to cut
Please,
1.2.
excuse me.
I'm being polite.
Let her talk.
I'm being polite, I am.
No, I think you're
Her
being
job isn't-
prejudicial
her
with
job
all due
is-
respect.
What I'm trying to say to you is,
I
think that-
wait, excuse me, is it my turn now?
No, I'm trying to
Because I thought
say-
you just turned it over to me.
Excuse me, Karen.
I'm not being fresh by any
Karen, you
means.
started off fresh saying that she wasn't.
I take that back, it wasn't fresh.
Superintendent, please go ahead.
But I want to say to you, I know it's going to be difficult to cut $1.2 million, and I think, out of respect for Mr. Plum's motion, that I would like for you to come back with showing us some type of reductions. You
And
might
I
not
would be
get to
happy
1.2.
May I speak?
Go right ahead.
Thank you. You raised a few different issues, Mrs. Gleason, and I believe the first, which I addressed there, was not heard, I was told by the microphones. With regard to professional development, the line item in the operating budget for professional development is 0. It has been 0 for a number of years. The limited professional development we are able to offer comes from our restricted funds, which are restricted to those purposes. Those funds have also been reduced. As you may recall, last year the state eliminated the professional development fund after the school year had started. That fund was not replaced for this year, and as you have heard, we are anticipating further reductions for next year. So there is no money in the operating budget for professional development. With regard to the 4th and the 5th grade move, I do want to recommend that on the school department website is all the information regarding our presentations on closing Elmhurst, and also all the information on the meetings of our Transition Advisory Committee, which was made up primarily of parents from our affected schools. I would also respectfully submit that if we do not follow that proposal, it will actually lead, as Mr. Canario pointed out, to an increase in the budget request as opposed to a decrease. So if we're talking about trying to level fund, that would appear to me to be moving in the wrong direction. With regard to coming back with cuts, we can certainly do that, and I'm going to give you a couple of just numbers for a frame of reference. Because level funding would be a $1.2 million reduction. What's built into the current budget for the teacher's contract is steps only with no cost of living increase. That totals $350,000. So that gets us just about a quarter of the way there. And by the way, the teachers took no COLA last year. And our other employees, even though they had contracts in place, took no increase. The other piece, we've also, as I said, we've already reduced staff at the high school without a decline in enrollment. We will look at more staff reductions. We will also, just again for a frame of reference, when we did our due diligence last year, looking at the cost of every athletic program in the system, it was $350,000. Now, probably it went up a little bit for this year, but not much. So even with absolutely no steps in the contract, which is questionable with regard to legality given Title 16, and with even no athletics and extracurricular programs, we are still, we're about a little over halfway there, right?